I'm not gonna take up all the time because I want to like back and forth, like we the dynamic duo. What you think about that, Jay?
Oh, it's a lovely thing because I was actually able to get my kids, not all of them, but I guess 1/3 or three of them so far. They're in the house right now at the moment. So I just made last minute plans because I ain't really had no plans on doing too much. We thought it was gonna be rain. We had did something with him yesterday. Me and my couple of my sisters. We had met out by the park. Like he said, it's his first time really being back out for Father's Day after the 25 years. So that was a great thing. Now we back together there on Father's Day actually. And like he said, he see his grandkids. The Cage bloodline is just getting thicker, I guess you could say, man.
And
right.
I'm so proud of it, because it was like yesterday was a great day that we was able to get together. We had to coordinate it and things, because I had so many hours, so we had to do it among everything that I was doing. So, but it turned out good. But family is so important, and then fathers are so important, because most people that my age, they can testify to, like, we can go down the block, right? And we know there was a father in every house. Now, when we got older, we might have found out that Harold daddy wasn't Lois daddy, right? But we didn't know that as kids, but it was a model. And Jesse was fortunate like that to grow up, even in my absence, right? With his uncle and his auntie in the house. So, and I think a lot with far as like him being married and all that, it was a good role model for him. Whereas like most people don't, be in the street that don't have this ambition, this desire to do these things. So I always thought that because he came up in that house with two parents in the house, it had an impact on him.
It did, and I'm glad we talking about this. Maybe I don't hate to change the subject, but just now, me and the oldest girl were just talking. She always got this mindset of saying she poor, and I try to break out the mindset of saying she poor, right? And I asked her, if you so poor, what make you think you so poor? I just asked her this, right? And the first thing she tried to say something about her mother's shopping habits, and things of that nature. So I said, no, if you feel like you poor, it's because of me. She said, no, it ain't because of you. So I said, because I'll take responsibility of all y'all if y'all not where y'all want to be, because like you just said, as far as the family. And I was trying to get her to understand that man make his family rich and wealthy. Meaning like the man of the family is supposed to be the protector, the provider, and so forth and so on. So meaning a woman is supposed to nurture the kids and so far. So if I left your mother and then I got with the other kids' mother and I left them and so far and so on, and I went to the phase, I'm trying to get to see that if you really believe you poor, it's because of me. Now, how you feel about that? You think that was kind of like I had to ask her that? Because I hate that she keep claiming it's poor, and I try to get her to feel like it's a mindset.
And that's good. Now, by her 20, right? I mean, you might can't reverse engineer that, but you got to figure out where that come from, because sometimes we got foundations that's laid inadvertently among not just in the house but everywhere, right?
Right.
So and so that mindset. That's why they say it's like a kid got to be reared at a certain age, and they say like sometimes your personality is already formed at 6-7 years old. Now you could go on to learn things, but for in terms of what you have processed of certain things of who you're going to be, might be the groundwork is already laid.
Right.
Because it's like, and I said that in one podcast too, that sometimes the limitation is by what they see.
Yeah.
And you said something because you've been married, and sometimes we could be married and don't have exposure to certain things, because there's marriage couples that's married but they ain't been exposed, and sometimes that marriage bring in leftovers of how they from it, and it studied clashes. But I read something one time, they say husband mean house band, like a band, it's like the band. They're supposed to keep everything together,
Right.
But when you don't know anything about keeping it together, right, it's hard for you to pass it on.
Right.
Because we get being a man from another man.
Right.
So if you don't get the foundation and the footsteps of that from a man, it's like his on-the-job training.
Right.
But I say also, that sometimes it's not your experience that shape your life, it's your interpretation of the experience. because like one man might come up without a father, right? And his experience is he ain't gonna let this happen with his family.
Key.
Right.
Key. So, right. So that make a lot of sense. I'm just glad I was trying to put the initial of my responsibility, and you can't change the hands of time, but I was trying to get to see the picture, meaning like when I can't say that I was in the streets to take care of my family because I was already in the streets before I created kids. But I understood my mindset back then. My goal was to always be rich off street money and have my family in a better position. But I failed in that area because, things didn't go as planned. I got busted. So the word failed don't mean nothing but just, it don't mean you gave up. But I feel like I failed in my duties of being a father. Now, I think I still get probably credit from being a good father. I don't really pay attention to it. I try to be my best, like how you was to me. And just growing up around you, like I think the way you looked at things is how I look at things. Like I never forget they had a house on $1 million Crown Let they was selling for like $1 million. And I believe, I don't think you remember this, but Clotilda said you was gonna buy the house. So it was nothing that I heard you say, well, I can't do that, son, because it is. So I believe like a lot of my thinking come from you, that from the DNA side, but just not having a poor-minded father. So when she say this, sometimes it aches me to be like, you saying you poor because you don't have the physical money, and the things that we doing, you can't really get directly involved with it. But I just feel like maybe maybe that's my fault, maybe because I wasn't, like you say, I was absent in her life and all of life, But I don't know, maybe that was probably something I needed to be said. What you think about it? You think I should never told that?
And because I know how Jesse is, well, we got a grandson and a granddaughter named Jessie, which is his kid, right? Mm-hmm. And the girl, I mean, she's like strong-willed,
skilled, talented,
everything, right? And she got her own ways. Like I tell people, I say I'm scared of her, right?
Right.
Because she got her ways of doing things. So it's so what she might say is not surprising,
right?
But what she might do is surprising,
mm-hmm.
because she thinks outside of the box, meaning when I was trying to educate everybody to crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and all these things of how to raise money and stuff. Hey, I mean, at 18, she wound up creating a crowdfunding page and went to raising money,
mm-hmm.
and things. And I went to showing everybody, look, this is what I've been trying to. I didn't even have to tell her, and she had learned how to do it,
Right.
So, it's like, so she think outside the box, So,
mm-hmm.
no telling what her destiny gonna bring her. But, she gonna have to, but she gonna do it on her own.
Well, one thing I do love about her idea, she said, we was talking just now, we had a good conversation. There was a lot of disagreements, but she was actually saying something about world domination. I said, yes, somebody else that want to dominate the world, remind myself. But I was trying to see that no world dominate the whole world. Is different sectors. Yeah. And what she was saying was, she told me before, she want to have studios around the world, so she was looking at how Disney dominate the world. I'm like, well, they did. They indoctrinated the kids in their own way. But at the end of the conversation, I'm glad that you studying the big companies. Keep that up. Keep looking at what Disney doing, and maybe you can implement something that they doing, and maybe not maybe you gonna be great, because sometimes you got to study the great. Now we know that this is not the greatest thing for our kids, but when you look at it, you see that I could build something just as better as Disney. So I like that about what she trying to emulate from, in a sense, So that was powerful, I think, when she said that,
And see, but like even with that, you got, like I said, she thinks outside the box, right? And I mean, even when I came home, I had on some projects that I was doing, and and my thing is, a lot of people felt like I shouldn't be giving her as much money with it, but my thing is, I wanted her to get paid for what she was doing,
right?
And things, because she do it all the time. Most of the time, you around her, she owns some art stuff, She got her own personality, but she thinks outside the box, And see, and this is the thing also about, this educational system that we got. It's kind of designed to kill the creativity in kids and stuff. I remember something that I read somewhere. Well, there was this little kid, and I think it was in like the first grade, and the teacher wanted everybody to pay attention to him. And this little kid, she just kept on writing and kept on drawing. She would never look up, right? So the teacher kind of like stopped what she was doing to go back there to see what she was doing and why she wasn't paying attention to what she was saying. So she said, "What you doing, Darlene?" She looked up. She said, "I'm drawing God."
Wow.
Right? And the teacher said, nobody know how God look. She said, they will when I'm finished.
Wow.
You know?
Creation.
Meaning that her thing is, let her keep her creativity. You know? Because sometimes, you know, it's like one kid might be smart in one thing and dumb in another. I mean, you know, as the story goes, you know, if you try to teach a fish to climb a tree, right, he gonna always look dumb to you because that's not his nature.
Right.
His nature is the water, you know.
Right.
So, and that's how kids is. Sometimes you got to find out. You know, even in the Bible, they say train a kid in the way that you want him to go, right, and he won't depart from it. And sometimes that's seeing what they want to do.
Right.
You know, and get behind them, not so much what you want them to do, you know.
Right.
It also say in NIV Bible, you know, that kids are like arrows, right? Where you sharpen them and shape them and shoot them into the bullseye. But when you don't know where the bullseye at, every shot that you take gonna be a crooked shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we don't have the education to pass on, and we don't have the eye to recognize the kids' creativity, you know,
Right.
and things.
You know what's crazy? I just thought about one of my guys from the Bahamas had showed me something, like you saying about a book. They were showing that one race of people, just say the Caucasian, the white guys, you know his son, you'll see them on the front of magazine cover or pictures with him and his son with the gun, right? And you'll see us as blacks, we'll see our kids with the basketball. Where the message was, we got so caught up outside of the lane and protect the lane, meaning we just focus on sending our kids to go play ball for the team owners and make them all this money, get us a little money. So I'm like, wow, that was powerful, because we understand that they taking the guns from us, but you know, if you understand the lane, you got to protect your lane. So the message was powerful how he broke it down. He was just showing like them the two different methods, us and them. And we had all the guns at one time, all the ammunition. They had all the Bibles. Now we got all the, you know, Bibles, and they got all the ammunition. Meaning, like, you know, everything got switched around from the Bible to the lane. It's just, you know, think about it like for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got almost to protect if we do own this land.
Right.
So it's just like, wow, you know.
Right. And see, and also what happens with this, I was looking at a video that someone sent me, right? And the guy, he got like an African name, Dr. But anyway, this is the message that I want. I get the name right. Where he was saying that this was deliberately designed for this prison system pipeline to work, whereas like it was designed to like kill the economics, that because when we was young, right, going to school, they had plumbing classes, they had trade classes where people taught electrician, taught plumber, woodworking, all kind of little skills, vocations in high school. Even some of the females, they went to sewing classes and home economics and all that, right? But all that was taken out, and then the goal was what? To go get your masters and all that there. But all this was going to do is create debt for you. It's like right now, you know, it's like, how would I say, most kids, you know, because even the school debt is inside of a vacuum, because you'll give a kid $100,000 to go to school loan, right? But you wouldn't give them $100,000 loan for anything else, right? And most of the time, kids would take that loan, right? And things, because, you know, I mean, just the exposure to go to school. But in the end, what's going to happen, right? They're going to be caught up in debt, you know? They're out of school, right? But now, I tell people this here, that some systems are broken, okay? But we understand it with certain things. Okay, if I buy a car from a used dealership, right? And now I pull off the lot and break down 3 blocks down, right? Well, I know I've been sold a lemon, right? Well, sometimes this is how the educational system is, right? It sells you a lemon, right? It tells you to go to school and get a good job, right? But sometimes that job only take you out of the project, but right down the street from it. So it kind of like broke down. You got a lemon. It can't take you further. But look, what happened? You in all these debts, right? I remember years ago, if you went to college and stuff, right? You know, there was a middle class kind of like waiting for you that you could, you know, sink into, you know, and you know, and be all you could be at that level that exists. Now, you know, you catch kids that went to college now, they're at home sitting with their mom playing video games and
Right.
stuff, you know? That education do not take you anywhere.
Mhm.
It's almost like an academic inflation.
Mhm.
It's not worth anything anymore. But yet we encourage to pursue it, you know, when in fact that it can't take you anywhere.
Well, that's why I always tell people education is food more people than help. And you understand that education was really set up for taxation purpose. Meaning, like you look at this, the study in the colony days, when they had the small colonies, I had a book on this. It was showing that within that time period, they came up with a law to tax people to send the kid to school. And so that means the people that didn't have kids still had to pay this tax. So people was mad because they felt like, well, I'm gonna pay tax on the school because the tax was going to the so-called, system of schooling people. So they felt like, well, I gotta contribute something. I ain't got no kids. So it became a big old thing. That's when they was modifying, putting the Bible in place. So they made the Bible one part. They wanted to indoctrinate everybody through certain parts of the Bible too. So when you look at it, when I was young, I hated school. I said, who have been in school is stupid. So I was right. Because now you've been in a economy up and you need the economics to grow on the slaves back. Not just saying blacks, but the people that's in the colony days, you need to go to work. So they got kids. The kids got to go to school. So while you on your 9 to 5, the kid then at school for the 9 to 5 too. So it's all designed to keep the working class, in that position where now you going to work from 9 to 5. You got your education, like you said, that's not going to really help you if you don't really advance to do more out of life. Now your kid got to go to school while you're working. So when I was growing, I used to always feel this way. And the book just confirmed, like, just what I felt. So they created all this to keep the masses where we at now in servitude. So we went from slavery to servitude.
And
Indoctrination.
Right. And it's like, because most of the people that been to college right now, they're doing things that's contrary to their degree.
Mm-hmm.
So